In Egypt, wealth isn't always earned. Sometimes, it's inherited through identity. Because here, before you build fortune, you carry legacy. Egypt isn't just a country, it's a civilization. A place where wealth has always meant more than money. Pharaohs didn't just rule. They defined divinity. Their names were written in stone. Their wealth buried beneath sand for eternity. And that energy still exists. Modern Egyptian billionaires aren't loud. They're entrenched. They don't chase virality. They own the institutions that define reality. This is a country where your last name can open more doors than your net worth. Where dynasties run factories, newspapers, telecom companies, and elections. It's not about being flashy. It's about being fundamental. They don't have to prove success. They were raised inside it. They understand hierarchy, rhythm, and narrative from childhood. It's not arrogance. It's architectural confidence. They don't just build businesses. They build legacies that embed into national memory. In the West, billionaires often come from startups. In Egypt, they come from structures, government-linked contracts, infrastructure monopolies, media platforms embedded into cultural consciousness. This isn't hustle culture. It's inheritance strategy. But don't mistake this for stagnation. Egyptian billionaires evolve. They just move with precision, not noise. They invest in art, telecom, pharma, and foreign real estate. But always with the posture of guardians, not gamblers. Their role is not just to grow, but to preserve and extend what already exists. Faith, family, and function are intertwined. Wealth isn't flaunted, it's encoded. In land deeds passed down with secrecy. In alliances negotiated at weddings. In influence traded during Friday prayers. The mindset is, you don't chase capital. You consolidate control. Legacy isn't just about death. It's about permanence while living. That's why Egyptian billionaires don't just invest in business. They invest in museums, monuments, ministries. They want to be remembered like the pharaohs. Not rich, but etched into the fabric of Egypt. Long before Silicon Valley invented the idea of founders, Egypt had pharaohs. Not just rulers. Symbols. They didn't shout their power. They sculpted it into stone. And that ancient playbook? It's still used by Egypt's billionaires today. In the West, success is demonstrated through disruption. In Egypt, success is demonstrated through stability. Because true power here is not loud. It's architectural. Look closely. The Egyptian billionaire doesn't tweet motivational quotes. He sponsors museums. He funds opera houses. He restores mosques and Coptic monasteries. Why? Because symbolism outlasts noise. A viral clip fades. A marble monument doesn't. Control is their primary asset. Not just control of industries, but control of meaning. They don't just own companies. They own the narrative frameworks through which those companies are understood. Cement isn't just a product. It's national infrastructure. Telecom isn't just bandwidth. It's informational territory. And real estate? It's not shelter. It's cultural placement. In Egypt, too much visibility can invite scrutiny, or worse, political tension. So the billionaires move in shadows of influence. They speak through institutions. They act through proxies. They rarely speak directly, but their impact is everywhere. It's not secrecy. It's orchestration. The pharaohs built pyramids as messages to the afterlife. Today's billionaires build hospitals and museums as messages to legacy. Because in Egypt, your name isn't just meant to appear on Forbes. It's meant to be carved into national continuity. Even their failures are managed with poise. A failed investment becomes a national development pivot. A halted project becomes a contribution to cultural heritage. A legal challenge? Settled through ritualized negotiation, not headlines. They don't panic. They reposition. This is the essence of the Pharaoh Code. Control symbols. Control space. Control time. Western entrepreneurs fight for attention. Egyptian billionaires fight to be timeless. If you want to trace the wealth of Egypt's billionaires, follow the dust, not the diamonds. Because in Egypt, true power isn't flashy. It's foundational. And the industries that shape billionaire fortunes? They don't just make money. They make the country work. Start with cement. It's not sexy. It's not global. But it's everywhere. Every building, bridge, school, and government facility sits on it. And in Egypt, the cement industry is a gatekeeper to urban progress. Control cement. You control what gets built and who gets to build it. That's why Egypt's richest families aren't in fashion or entertainment. They're in infrastructure. Because unlike trends, cement never stops being essential. It's recession-proof, politically protected, and when urbanization accelerates, margins multiply. Then comes telecom. Egypt has over 100 million citizens, and nearly 95% mobile penetration. In a country where public trust is low and surveillance is high, owning telecom infrastructure isn't just about data plans. It's about influence at scale. Every phone call, every text, every mobile payment. It's all flowing through privately owned channels tied directly to state cooperation. The ancient lifeline of Egypt. Still the heart of agriculture, shipping, and power generation. Modern Egyptian billionaires don't own the river, but they control its functions. Irrigation tech, hydro contracts, fertilizer plants, logistics hubs. They monetize movement, not just materials. And when water rights become geopolitical, their leverage multiplies. But here's the twist. These industries, cement, telecom, logistics, they don't create hype. They create dependence. A clothing brand may go viral. A cement empire anchors a regime. That's the play. Most countries have billionaires. But in Egypt, billionaires are the country's hidden operating system. They don't just serve the economy. They safeguard its rhythm. Even in crisis, revolution, currency crashes, regime changes, these industries don't disappear. They adapt. Because when a billionaire owns the pipes of power, he doesn't need public approval. He needs continuity. And continuity is a language Egypt's elites speak fluently. Egypt is a country of contrasts. Mosques echo the call to prayer 5 times a day, while monuments whisper of kings buried in gold. And if you want to understand how Egyptian billionaires move, you must understand how they balance the holy and the historical. Because here's the truth. To thrive in Egypt, wealth isn't enough. You need to navigate legacy, religion, and power all at once. Let's begin with faith. Egypt is a deeply Islamic country. Faith guides language, law, business etiquette, and trust. A billionaire's public piety isn't just personal. It's strategic signaling. Donations to mosques, funding Quran schools, charitable foundations that support orphans and hospitals. These aren't just good deeds. They're currency in a country where spiritual credibility can fortify financial legitimacy. But here's where it gets deeper. The truly elite don't use faith for marketing. They embed it into structure. Islamic finance principles influence their portfolios. Halal certifications shape their consumer strategy. Even board meetings pause for prayer. It's not performance. It's power through alignment. Now switch to empire. Modern Egyptian billionaires inherit more than capital. They inherit post-colonial trauma, pharaonic mythology, and the echoes of multiple revolutions. That history doesn't scare them. It trains them. Because in Egypt, power is never stable. So the elite don't seek fame. They seek survivability. Egyptian billionaires don't fund candidates. They fund climates. They shape policy not through lobbying, but through strategic loyalty. If the state needs economic stability, they offer jobs, capital injections, and infrastructure. If the state needs silence, they retreat quietly until called again. It's a delicate dance. You're powerful, but never too visible. You're rich, but always nationalistic. You're influential, but never disruptive. Because in Egypt, power flows from the center. And billionaires who last don't challenge the center. They co-author it. This is the Egyptian billionaire blueprint. Build with faith, Frame with history. Move with the state. You won't find them doing TED Talks. You won't catch them flaunting their passports. But somehow, Egyptian billionaires own property in Paris, ports in Sudan, and stakes in European banks. How? Because they've mastered a very specific art. Global expansion through local permanence. In Egypt, mobility isn't just about flying abroad. It's about building empires that transcend geography while staying rooted in national identity. Let's break it down. Step 1. Export culture, not just product. Egyptian billionaires know their history is their soft power. So instead of chasing trends, they invest in museums that tour globally, a media that frames Egypt as the cradle of civilization, universities that partner with global institutions. They don't export goods. They export narrative. Step 2. Use Egypt as the anchor, not the limitation. A billionaire may be based in Cairo, but their holding company is in Luxembourg. Their shipping contracts run through the Gulf. Their philanthropy is recognized in the UN. Their feet stay planted, but their systems scale outward. They don't escape Egypt. They make Egypt central to the global web they control. Step 3. Invest where Egypt matters. They don't randomly scatter investments. They pick regions where Egyptian influence is welcomed or nostalgic. A Sudan, a Libya, a Gulf nations, a France, the Eastern Europe. They're not outsiders. They're seen as strategic bridges. Step 4. Let institutions move for you. Instead of buying factories abroad, they fund development agencies, embassies, educational exchanges. They partner with state-backed banks to create cross-border capital flows. It's not acquisition, it's alignment. Because in the Egyptian model, you don't move to power. You make power orbit you. Step 5. Use silence as strategy. While Western billionaires get Forbes features and media spotlights, Egyptian elites often move in quiet diplomacy. They're behind infrastructure in the Balkans, oil deals in the Gulf, cyber defense in Europe. But their names rarely trend. That's not failure. That's intentional invisibility. Because to them, true scale isn't about recognition. It's about reach without resistance. And they achieve it not by shedding Egypt, but by turning Egypt into a spiritual headquarters for every deal they touch. You've seen the skyline. You've felt the silence. You've watched empires built between minarets and monuments. But behind every Egyptian billionaire is a code, a mindset that fuses religion, royalty, risk, and restraint into one silent superpower. Here are the 7 laws that define their playbook. Law 1. Build for eternity, not for hype. In Egypt, the pyramids still stand, and every billionaire knows this. Trend is temporary. Legacy is leverage. So they invest in permanence. Real estate, institutions, history, education. Not likes, not views. Stone over spotlight. Law 2. Control the narrative without being the voice. They don't need to speak to be heard. They fund the journalists, sponsor the platforms, endow the think tanks. They own the megaphone, even when they stay silent. Law 3. Move with the state, not against it. Egypt isn't a playground for rebellion. To win, you align. You serve national goals, visibly and strategically. When the regime rises, you rise with it. When it shifts, you've already pivoted. Survival equals synchronization. Law 4. Anchor in faith. Scale through trust. Mosques over media. Charity over clout. Islam isn't an accessory. It's the architecture of credibility. Faith earns trust. Trust builds empires. And when crisis hits, the people remember who prayed before they paid. Law 5. Don't show everything. Control everything. Visibility is earned, not assumed. Their cars may be armored. Their brands, invisible. Their stakes in companies, hidden behind 7 holding groups. Because power isn't about being seen. It's about being unavoidable. Law 6. Use Egypt as a stage, not a cage. They don't escape Egypt. They expand it. From the Nile to the Gulf, from Paris to Pretoria, their deals are shaped by cultural code, historical weight, and regional gravity. You don't leave Egypt. You make the world lean in. Law 7. Legacy is engineered, not inherited. Even when born rich, they still structure control. Trusts, institutions, foundations. Because true Egyptian billionaires don't just pass down cash. They pass down continuity. Family names become brands of stability. This is more than wealth. It's architecture, built on stone, silence, and strategy. And when history books are rewritten, their names won't be in the credits. They'll be in the design. This is the Billionaire Mindset. Episode 3, Egypt. Next stop, the British Billionaire Mindset, where empire, etiquette, and equity collide in a world of offshore trusts and legacy domination.